So what's up guys, this is Simran Sharma here. I'm Prashanta Sharma, I'm from India, and today I'll be showing you my sim racing setup. And sim racing in India is not that much of a thing, but again I have this racing passion, so that's why I try to show my best of whatever I can do with sim racing. And the heart of my system is the processor, is the AMD Ryzen 7 2700 processor running with the RX 570 4GB. It's a quite old graphics card, that's from 2018, but this one is the oldest RX 570, and I think it's doing a pretty good job in handling triple 1080p. So let's start the race, and first of all, I'll show you the frames per second. I'm getting about 49 frames per second, but as the race will start, let me start the race for just for fun. As you can see, it's going up to 60. I just now crashed, but again, it will reach 60 as soon as I play. Because right now I can't play. And talking about my screen, this one is the one on the right is a TV. It's a smart TV, and the one on the center is actually an Acer 240 hertz monitor. And again on the left, I have a smart TV, Samsung smart TV. This one is the iFalcon smart TV. So all three combined with the AMD graphics card, and this one is the Trustmaster T150, and this we actually am remapping all the settings. I'm using the Arduino, so I've opened up all the settings from the inside, and all these wires are actually placed right there. These are all the wires, and I'll be also using I'm actually trying to modify my gear shifter, so I'll be using these tactile. These are actually limit switch. You will hear that sound. These are actually the limit switch. You will hear the sound. This is what I'll use, and these are all my things for my spare parts and accessories, my tripod, my soldering kit. This is my soldering. This is from this where I used to solder everything, and there I have the Arduino, which I recently purchased. I also purchased it a long time back, but again I couldn't figure it out, the programming, but right now I did. Actually this will actually work fine. So coming from this side to this side, and I also used the helmet for my recording. So you might be wondering how I record all these things. So I use this helmet to record right in front. I sit in front like this, and I used to record all my settings. And you might be wondering that the bezel free kit I'm using is from an old laptop display. So this is the horizontal part of the display, and make sure to first see which part is actually blending from side to side. There are two parts, horizontal and vertical. So this one is the vertical one. So from this angle you might see there is a slight bezel, but again if you see from the center, see, it's actually gone. On the left, ignore the left side because I'm actually uh, making some changes on the left side, so it actually didn't work out for me. I'll make it again. So just look at the right side, it blended perfectly. So this is how it works, and you have seen the frame rate. Now I'll exit the game, and I'll show you my game's in-game settings. So Automobilista, if you look at Automobilista and the RX 570 right over there, then you will understand it, then you will get an idea of how this graphics card will perform on the other games. In Assetto Corsa, everything maxed out, still getting 60 FPS. So now I'll go back, go to options, go to performance, and voila, look at all my settings. I haven't changed anything, I'm showing you live. This is 5760 by 1080, everything maxed out, high settings, except for multi-sampling, it's all turned off. Most AA is semi medium. Okay, so if I set to high, frame rate drops to 30, so that's not optimal to play this game. But again, at these settings I usually get around 50 to 70 fps depending on the scene. If there are too many cars, then definitely I will get around 50 to 55 fps. But if I play with a GT3 car, then definitely I will get more than 60 fps for sure, because in Formula 1 the speed goes above 350. So that actually creates a lot of problems for the GPU. Is still struggling for that, but I will upgrade in the next year, definitely in the next year. And these are my gloves. These actually glows in the dark, so I think you can already see the effect here. If I come in the dark, it will you can see, you can still see it glowing. Even in darker conditions it will tend to glow. This is actually paint which I painted on it. I'll make a separate video on it. It turns out that the red color actually is more visible compared to all the other colors. So this is the game. I will exit the game right now. I'll show you my graphics card settings in game. So here I am on the MSI. This is the afterburner. You can check out my graphics card number, RX 570 series. Okay, this is the 4GB version. Buying the 8GB is not a recommended option because of the in-game clock speed. Okay, now if I go to performance, okay, if I go to performance only, you can see here only. If I go to tuning, see, this is the RX 570 series. I'm not joking, guys. This is the RX 570, really RX 570, not the 5700. You might get confused that I'm using the 5700. This is the 570 from 2018, running triple screen. Many of the people didn't believe it when I posted a video about it on the community on Facebook, on the AMS2 community on Facebook. Many were asking that how did you run triple screen? And I've shown you live with my live settings, high settings. So this is how it is. Maybe it depends on the hardware also, because this one has military grade components on the Aorus card. This is actually a Gigabyte sub brand, but again this card is very rare, just like the Founders Edition for Nvidia. And I'll show you my rest of the steering wheels right under there. This one is the Mercedes one. You might be familiar with it. And this one is the first steering wheel which I made, the Aston Martin. I'm also planning to make 5 encoders with 5 buttons and 5 rotary functions, left, right, and on top of that 10 buttons over here and over here, means 5 buttons per side. So 10 buttons, so 16 buttons can be accommodated on the Arduino. And talking about my chair, this is the most interesting part of this whole build. You see that the chair has to be fixed, so I used, let me turn on the flash if I can. Okay, I can turn on the flash. So now if you see here, I have tied my chair with the rope, and now if I break hard, so it will, if I break hard, this happens, so it will not get any more back. See, this is what will happen. And look at the joint, it's very strong. And talking about the pedals, what I did is I used a very strong wire to bind these up with 2 screws, one on this side and one on the other side. I hope you can clearly see it. It's quite a mess in my room. And I've also placed 2 sheets of cardboard. This is actually from Amazon cardboard. I have placed it here so that under pressure it will not create any more strain here on the board, on the panel, on the what's it called, I forgot, on the plastic, so that it doesn't break. If this thing breaks, then chances are that whole thing might crack down. So to avoid that, I used this piece of paper. But that actually does a pretty good job. Even if I press it hard, see, this thing is purely intact. The braking is the main problem here. It's so hard. Okay, this is full braking, nothing's happening, and the clutch is super easy, and the acceleration is also super easy. Okay, so this is my sim racing setup, and I also made a logo. Let's turn off the flash. Okay, I also made a logo for myself. Simrati Sharma here. It's also so great. It looks great on camera. Also looks great on real life. So that's it. And my whole setting just comes up like this. If I pull this off, it's more like an easy way to take it off. But I'm planning to take the wire through the steering wheel's hub so that it becomes completely wireless. That will also be a very good option. So that's it. And I have 2 speakers. These are very old speakers. Doesn't matter what speaker I use, I will be recording live from the speaker only. I'll not use the in-game replay, in-game sound. That's all for today's video, and hope you really enjoyed it. This is my sim racing setup from India. You will never see a setup like this in India, and this whole setup actually costed me around $750 roughly. I calculated each and everything. So the graphics card I bought around $110, and I don't remember the other parts, but again it's very cheap. If you find a way to buy used parts, that will be much more beneficial for that. So whatever part I've used here is mostly they are used parts, and that actually does the job. What's the point in buying costlier parts and then you cannot use it properly? So this is it. So hopefully on the next year I will actually rebuild my whole setup using some different chair and comfortable chair definitely, and new system and everything like that, and also the new Arduino which I will use here for the buttons and the key mapping. So that's all for today's video. Hope you really enjoyed it. Till then, see you on my next video and see you on next year.